Today we're going to make my dad's favorite breakfast sandwich. This is something that he always used to make when I was a kid, and it was one of the first things he ever taught me how to make. It's not a difficult sandwich, it's actually extremely simple, but it's super good, super delicious, and today we're making it in honor of my late dad. Let's get started. Alright, so to make this breakfast sandwich, you only need a few ingredients. First of all, you're going to, of course, need eggs. Do 2 of those. Then we're going to be using some onion. I'm obviously not using this whole thing, but using a decent amount. Probably just a few slices worth. You can cut it however you want. I'm going to cut mine in strips. Next, we're going to need some cheddar cheese. Specifically, sharp cheddar is what we're using. You can use, obviously, whatever kind of cheese you want, but Dad always made it with sharp cheddar. Then you're going to need some bread. My dad always used wheat bread. I am going to be using whole grain killer bread from Dave's Bread. So it's pretty good stuff. I like it, and it's one of the few breads I could find that didn't have a bunch of weird ingredients in it. And then finally, just some butter. That'll just go on the bread after it's toasted and with the sandwich itself. So the only other thing we're going to need is some type of cooking oil or fat. I typically just will use like avocado or olive oil, basically just something to saute the onions with. So let's go ahead and get everything prepped, and then we will get to cooking. All right, so we have our cast iron skillet heating on medium-high heat. Since it's had a chance to warm up a little bit, we're going to add a little bit of avocado oil, roughly about a tablespoon. Let's spread around a bit. Then to that, we'll add our yellow onions. You don't necessarily have to do as much as what I'm doing, but the amount I'm doing is just based on about how much my dad usually did whenever he made this, and how he taught me how to do it. Fun fact, I have this scar on my finger. You probably can't see it very well, on my thumb. Yeah, it's not really going to focus on that. Anyway, so it's pretty blurry in this right here, but there's a scar right there on my thumb. And that is from the first time that I made this. I cut my finger, bled all over the place, passed out because I was not used to seeing that much blood, and since then it's just always been a reminder of this particular dish. And then I ended up cutting myself again on that same thumb some years later, and so there's a scar that's connected to the first one right here on my thumb. Thankfully, I never managed to get a third scar, but nevertheless, it's just kind of interesting and fun. So the goal here is really just to get the onions nicely sauteed. I always like doing them a little bit charred, but you can obviously go for caramelized if that's how you like them. Caramelized is great, it's just more time and effort, and really I just like to get them softened and nicely sauteed, and that's how my dad always made them. Now while those onions are doing their thing, we'll go ahead and put our bread in the toaster to toast, because it's not going to take long to put this all together. Now the one major reason, apart from just helping these to get a little bit charred, that we're doing this on medium-high heat is also because when we add the cheese to the eggs, we want the cheese to get melted and a little bit crisped up, so that it just ends up making that much more delicious of a sandwich. Onions are just about done, just about ready here. While those are finishing up, take our eggs and add our cheddar cheese to them. This is roughly about 1.5 to 2 ounces of cheddar cheese. I'm just breaking it up a bit. Obviously you can do it grated instead. I like doing it sliced mostly because it's a little bit easier to get more of the kind of texture I'm looking for with that. So go ahead and pour that in directly on top of the onions. And I know people who are like hardcore about scrambled eggs being super soft and everything are just going to cringe at this, but we really do want them to get a little bit brown, mostly because we're trying to get that cheese melted and crispy and just so good. Kind of fold the cheese in as much as we can. Still maintain a bit of a patty shape that will fit in the toast nicely. Let that do its thing a little bit and get the toast out to butter. Cheese may stick a little bit, but that's perfectly all right because sticking means that it's going to get more crispy and more delicious. See all that brown? That's mostly the cheese. Yeah, the eggs got a little brown, but perfectly fine for this because it is just so good. It's still gonna be really moist and delicious. All right, that seems to be done. Let's go ahead and transfer that over. And now the taste test. Oh, it's looking beautiful. One of my favorites.
With that mixture of egg and cheese with kind of sweet crunch of the onions, and then of course toasted bread.
This thing is just seriously one of my favorite meals ever. This sandwich is really special to me because, as I said in the intro, this is one of the first things my dad ever taught me how to make. It was something that he ate for breakfast all the time. His favorite thing to make for breakfast. And it's become one of my favorites. And my dad's been gone now for a little over 6 years. And I really wanted to bring his simple yet delicious recipe to life. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like if you liked this video, subscribe to the channel and share with your friends, and stay tuned for more recipes that, while not necessarily authentic, are always delicious.